everybody, and welcome to another episode of PostMortem by It's All Fun and Games. I'm your host for the evening, afternoon, morning, whenever it is that you're listening to this, Melvin Rodriguez, and I am joined by the Metroid expert and always sexy voice in the business, Mr. Matthew Howard.
That's me, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Matt, you played all the games. You know what's up. I barely played
all the games. I haven't played Hunters.
Okay, come on. Really? You're gonna fixate on Hunters? Anyway, this postmodern episode, we're gonna be chatting all about the Metroid level progression. Because if you didn't know, what postmodern is all about is we really go and deep dive into one particular aspect of the game that we truly enjoyed. Instead of giving you the surface level reviews of all the simple mechanics, we'll do that at the beginning. We'll just give you a little of impressions of the game and everything going on, spoiler free. Then we'll break off, give you the spoiler warning, and really dive into the level progression, which is something that we thought that for this particular game really excel.
Yeah.
All right. So before we get started, I just wanted to remind you that you can find this podcast on any podcast service. Soon, Spotify. Just give it a couple more months, and we should be there. Don't worry, we'll get there. But you can also find this on video version on It's All Fun and Game YouTube, where you can find even my own footage of my game playing through Metroid Dread, in case you want to follow along to see what we're talking about. Especially if you are one of those people that forget the exact location where things happen, this is a place where you can find it. Okay, Matt? Let's get started with Metroid Dread. First of all, overall impressions. What good, bad, meh?
This was great. I think this might be my new favorite 2D Metroid.
Your new favorite 2D Metroid?
Because I think Super is fantastic. Also.
Yeah. I kind of get a feeling around there. For me in particular, it is absolutely my favorite Metroid. But keep in mind, my 2D Metroid experience has been Samus Returns and Super Metroid. Which, I mean, at that point, technically, people consider Super Metroid to be the highest ranked 2D Metroid game, even though it came out a while back. Now, what I want to understand, you're saying 2D Metroid. Are you putting that descriptor because you still feel like the Prime games could potentially be better, or because you're just too completely separate that you don't think that they can be compared?
I'm thinking about it. Prime 1 is very, very, very good, and I think it's so impressive how they managed to translate the Metroidvania formula to 3D. So I think Prime still does a lot very well that impresses me, but it's Dread could be better. It's something I'm still considering.
Okay, now overall, again, spoiler free and everything. Why does Metroid Dread contend for your favorite game, Metroid of all? What makes it so special?
Well, first off, controls are very smooth. That was the one major. That's the one major flaw going back to Super Metroid. I think is it can be a bit clunky. You do get used to it. It definitely is still a great game in spite of that. But it might be hard to go back playing Dread because Dread does so much right. And Samus just feels amazing control. And in these games that put such an emphasis on movement and giving you new movement abilities, it really feels nice to have full control over all of that. And yeah. But beyond that, just I think the story is pretty much like exactly what I would want out of a Metroid game. It's not too overbearing. There's not too much there. Mm-hmm. There is some good environmental storytelling as well as some cutscene moments that hit very hard. And
right in the feels.
Yeah. I think the level design is top notch. I appreciate how many ways you can break the game and break the sequence and do things out of order in this game, even though I haven't done much of that myself yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a game without any real weaknesses, and everything good about Metroid, I think, is here.
All right, fair enough. I will disagree that it doesn't have any weaknesses. You know about one in particular, but one of the first things that did strike me as I was playing the game. By the way, to just give you a progression of where we are at, we both beat the game, math 100% the game already, meaning collected everything, all the collectibles, and I am about 90% through the collectibles. I am planning to complete it, but I just didn't have the time to do the 100% run before recording this podcast.
Yeah.
So the first footage that you're seeing if you're watching this on YouTube is just the early footage of me playing. Don't worry, there's not going to be many spoilers in there. The main thing that struck me as I was playing the game was the smoothness of it. As soon as I took control of Samus, I didn't. Obviously, at the beginning, if you have played all these sort of Metroid games before, you know that Samus doesn't have all her abilities at the beginning, and that's kind of the progression that we're going to dive into later on. But in this particular thing, even though Samus didn't have all her abilities, just the sheer movement of me controlling her, it just felt smooth. She felt agile. She felt speedy. She was able, when she has the ability to like slide through narrow gaps without going into her ball form, and that just feels so good. Like the transitions feel good, the animations feel smooth, her aiming feels great. So just from the get-go, as soon as you get a game like that and you're able to traverse these environments with ease, it's just it makes the player feel powerful without even having all the powers yet, and that feels really good to me. And that was just at the beginning. Now, moving forward, the level design is very important when it comes to these sort of games to me. Just because it can get very overwhelming when there's one of the main aspects of this sort of game is you go through different environments, but you may not be able to explore an environment fully until later on in the game. Like there may be situations where you may need a power and an extra power up to be able to unlock the next area or to be actually able to reach the next area, which is can be frustrating at times because then you have to remember as you go through which areas what area was blocked by one power up. So by the time you get that power up, you can go back and explore it again. And what this Metroid did in terms of level design is that I never felt like I needed to remember necessarily. I felt like exploration would be much better in that regards. Like I can just go and explore, and I will find once I get all the powers, be able to actually complete everything, which is why I find the 100% collectibles not a chore, but actually fun to do.
Yeah.
But this game actually does a good job of leading you in the critical path without actually shoving it in your face that you're going in the critical path. Like it's not like it's closing a door. It's like, oh no, you can't. You need to go that way. It's like no. You know that you unlock this new area, and there's a door that you haven't explored yet. So it's like, okay, that must be the path that you need to take.
Yeah, there's very few moments where they specifically point you to an area and say, go here. Yes. I can only think of one off the top of my head. But yeah, for the most part, it just feels like the natural way to go. You'll unlock if you have to go back to like an old area. Typically you'll unlock a shortcut, some kind of transport teleporter that just takes you there.
Yeah.
And yeah, it feels very with something like this, you run the risk of making the game feel too linear. But I think in this case, it makes the main path feel obvious, but there are still plenty of ways to break that main path and break from that main path if you choose to do so.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. The one thing about traversal, which I'm gonna talk about here, is Metroid has this mechanic, even from Super Metroid. Remember, this is not particular to this Metroid Dread, to hide breakable objects or breakable walls that doesn't necessarily that blend in with the environment. Like most of the things is like, okay, now a lot of games they show you is like, oh, there's like cracks on this wall or something to kind of just show you that this is gonna be breakable and you'll be able to do something. There's some visual indicator. This one doesn't necessarily have that. Now, I'm not saying that that's a bad thing necessarily, because later on in the game, you even actually have the ability, just like in Super Metroid, to scan and be able to understand where there are hidden blocks, which is fine. What my main grievance was is this one of those invisible walls became part of the critical path, even though you didn't have this scanning ability, and there was no way of me knowing that I could actually do that. And for other areas where this is not the only area that has that, the other areas that had breakable blocks actually may have even some sort of hints that may be breakable. Like I remember one area in particular where there were a bunch of enemies, and you see two corridors, the one that you're on at the bottom, and there's one at the top. But it's divided by a ceiling, and you're like, okay.
And there's also enemies on the ceiling to encourage you to shoot up at it.
Exactly. There's enemies in the ceiling, so you shoot at it, and it blocks, it breaks for you, which is okay. That makes sense to me. I'm not mad about that. That's good game design. Now, when it comes to that one area, though, in that critical path, and I know that I'm not alone on this, because I saw a lot of people on social media complaining about that particular path too, that they took like 2 hours trying to figure it out. I didn't take me 2 hours. I just got frustrated, but it didn't take me 2 hours. Because it's just, that one, there's no visual indicator, there's no monsters. It's like, if you are lucky enough, you're happy to shoot it. And you're like, okay, there's actually a path this way.
Yeah. So I will give them a bit, like, I will acknowledge this one is a bit trickier than the rest. For the most part, I don't think the game really has this problem. But I will say this one comes up where it's still very early in the game. There aren't that many places to go. You just come to a new area, and you can only go into like three different rooms. I was shooting everything. Okay. Eventually, there has to be a way forward here. So I'm just gonna go crazy. And
fair enough. Even in this video right here, you see me shooting everything, and that's the part about the game. Like, I'm not even in that area in particular when I'm showing in the screen right now. But
you learned the lesson.
I learned the lesson. Like, as soon as I do that, it's like whenever I'm blocked, all I do now is go to every single area and shoot everything. Hopefully to find a path forward. And honestly, that was the only time that I had to do that. But still, to me, it just felt, it really felt like a point of frustration. Now, moving on from the level traversal and everything, I want to talk a little bit about the boss battles and the enemies before we dive into the level progression. Not to dive too much into it, but I wanted to talk about how did you feel like the bosses were, one, unfair, two, too difficult, or do you think there was a right balance of skill and showing the player what they needed to do?
I was honestly really impressed by the boss battles. I don't think there was any boss that I ever felt frustrated fighting. Even though I think almost all of them managed to kill me at least once. Mm-hmm. But I thought the bosses were great. Like, they're definitely harder than the rest of the game. Most of the other enemies are kind of obstacles. They don't stand too good of a chance of actually killing you. Mm-hmm. But I appreciate what the bosses do. I think it's good that the bosses are a bit of a challenge, and none of them felt insurmountable. They all have pretty good tells. They have moves that felt unfair. And sometimes it just took like some thinking to figure out like how to get around a certain move or how to avoid it.
Yeah. I appreciated the boss design myself, because even when you die, there is even a screen prompt that tells you no move of any boss is unavoidable. Try to read it. Like, they made it specifically, like, they made it challenging, which I appreciate. That's what you want from a boss battle. If you're able to defeat it on one or two tries, it's like, is there really anything that you're really learning from this? Is this something that's going to stick with you? I feel like these boss battles are going to stick with me for a long time because they were challenging and engaging at the same time. It wasn't challenging, frustrating.
There's some really memorable ones here.
Yeah, absolutely. So I understand that maybe compared to the other games, this one was particularly more difficult. But even then, the difficulty was welcome.
Very fair.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Now, there's one boss in particular that it just felt super tricky to avoid because there were two of them, and there is one particular attack that shines red sparks. You'll know what it is when you encounter it. And the hitbox on the red sparks attack is massive. It's like how the heck do I avoid this? And I think that's the boss that took me the longest, just because I needed to avoid that attack. Yeah. I needed to avoid that one attack on top of having to remember that there's another enemy shooting at me.
Yeah.
So it was very difficult to do, which, I mean, it's okay in the long run. I was able to conquer it. I just felt like that particular attack felt very, very strong for such a small side boss, I would say.
Yeah. I eventually found out with that. If you use your I always forget what it's called. The one move where you press A and you like can do your sort of
like the teleportation kind of
almost. That was the one thing like when I got it early on, I wasn't using it enough, and it helps so much in against so many bosses, and you really have to get used to that. But I found with that a lot of the time you can kind of go over them as they're rushing towards you to do their big red spark attack. If you try to run away from them while they're doing that, you usually get hit.
Yeah. And even if you do that dash attack, you have to really time it, because if it's at the moment that the sparks actually come out of the ground, you're screwed. Because that moment that the hitbox becomes very vertical, so you are like, even if you jump, you're gonna get hit by it. Yeah. But I did find out that attack actually goes through walls, and that pissed me off. But anyway, so that's the boss battles. One last thing that I would say before we move on to the spoiler section is shout out to the parry mechanic of this game. Oh my gosh, does it feel satisfying parrying not only the normal enemies, even the bigger enemies in the level, but even the enemies. When you actually go and like slap them in the face when they're trying, nothing feels so good.
Yeah.
That I would say is one of my favorite mechanics in this game that I don't remember playing from Super Metroid and Samus Returns.
So it wasn't Samus Returns like almost over relied on it. Like almost every enemy had some kind of like parry that you needed to beat them effectively.
Okay.
And it was almost too much in my opinion. But I think this game is implemented well. Like a lot of enemies have a way to use it against them, but you don't have to. There's like other ways to beat them.
Okay. Yeah. In this particular case it is. But the fact that you can use it even with the giant boss battles, and it triggers another sequence, which makes Samus just so badass. I'm sorry, but it has
the cutscenes.
It's good. But yeah, overall, a very fantastic game, very quality game. It doesn't take very long to beat. It took me 6 hours and 15 minutes according to the in-game clock, but I'm pretty sure I died a couple times and that didn't get counted. I feel like it took me around 9 overall, but the game said 650, so we're going with that. It makes me look better.
Yeah, it took me 12 total, but I 100%, like even before fighting the final boss.
Gotcha. Yeah. No, I went for the final boss right away. I needed to know. I needed to know right away. Okay. So now, big warning right here. We're gonna move into the topic of the show, as you might call it, and that will allow us to break the spoiler barrier. So if you haven't played Dread, or you or you and you want to experience it for yourself, basically, make sure to pause this podcast, put the time code in, come back when you have beaten Metroid Dread. Now, if you're one of those people that doesn't care about spoilers, or you have been in the game, stay with us as we dive into the level progression. Give you enough warning.
Okay.
Right? So let's do it. Okay. Level progression, man. Would you mention to me that this is one of the games that does a really great job at making you more powerful, or making Samus feel like a unit as you work through the game? Why is that?
I think that's been a consistent strength of Metroid. Metroid tends to give you like, I think a very good balance of abilities that make you stronger and abilities that allow you to move faster or more freely. And what this results in is because it's a Metroidvania and you do end up going through old areas, you end up being able to just blast through them so much on a return because your movement is better. You have more options to like pass obstacles and your attacks can shoot through these older enemies that are now weaker relative to you.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, as soon as you start the game, you start off, you came with the Varia suit into this planet. Obviously, you got stripped of all of that, and you are back to your base blue form, I guess, because obviously you at this point you are infused with the Metroid DNA and all that
changes.
Yeah, exactly. But you start off with that suit, and you're only able to, again, you only have the basic abilities, which is still really cool. Like, you can still do quite a bit. You can still parry, you can still slide, you can still move, or do the normal jump, and feel like you're still a powerful person. But moving forward and getting all those different abilities, as you blast through some of the environment, especially towards the end of the game, once you have the infinite jump, once you have the spark,
screw attack.
The screw attack. Once you have the screw attack and the ability to infinite jump, it's like you feel like you're cheating the game. You feel like you unlock cheat code because it's just so much better to be able to traverse all these environments. And you have the gravity suit. Being able to go through all those water areas that, let me tell you, it's just obviously you just feel incredible. And at the end of the game, once you unlock that amazing suit that you have, oh my god, that literally, you can a single shot is a Kamehameha. Like, come on. I was literally half expecting Goku to show up at the end of the battle just to battle with Samus there. Because it's like, what else is Samus going to battle at that point? What a powerful person becomes at the end of the game.
I do have one minor complaint relative to older games, and that would be that I don't really like the speed booster has to be manually triggered now. Because I think that resulted in me just not using it nearly as much. Whereas in say Super Metroid, you'll just kind of naturally have it activate when you're going through an area where it's possible. Whereas maybe because I'm not used to it, maybe it would be easier if this was my first Metroid game. But I would just always forget that it's something that I now have to activate, and I ended up only using it when you have to for breaking blocks or shine sparking.
Well, not only shine, but also those areas where the wind is blowing and you have to go through really fight the wind power.
So I think I can see why the change was made. I can see why it might be annoying to have it on all the time, but I would have maybe just an option to configure it whichever way you prefer.
Mm-hmm. No, that's fair enough. One
very minor complaint.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the mechanics that I feel like I used the least in this whole game. That and what was the other one that I barely used to? Like the bombs when you're in morph form. It was mostly for traversal until you unlock the power bomb.
Yeah.
Once you have the power bomb, it's like, what the heck? I can just blow everything up? Why couldn't it have this at the beginning of the game? That would have been stuck in the Daria region because I couldn't shoot left. It was okay. Okay. Now we went through a little far. So we talked about all the different powers, how they make you feel more powerful and really help you traverse the game. But let's take a step back. Talk about how the progression goes as you move along the game, because I really have some interesting questions about when you unlock certain powers as opposed to when you unlock them in the other games, and how that affected how you played this particular game. And I also want to talk about the enemies.
Yep.
Because and overall enemies. So at the beginning of the game, when you encounter your first enemy, not the one that is already, not the tutorial one, because the tutorial one is literally already kind of broken, and it's literally just showing you that you can shoot it in the face with this massive beam, and you destroy it, and then the massive beam goes away, right?
Yeah.
The first enemy is the white one that you start seeing how it can traverse the environment, and go through the roofs, and it can actually get to you, but it cannot go through narrow gaps. Its face is just so big that it cannot actually, if you go through a narrow gap, it will just stop chasing you or try to find a way around it.
Yeah.
But even then, when you first encounter this enemy feels powerful. It feels like it can keep up with you. Or it feels really fast, even though looking at it after, it actually moves at the same speed as you. So as long as you don't screw up, you're able to move away from it.
But the other thing is it's very good at not losing you.
Yes.
It's not like you can easily lose the Emmy once you've been spotted and revert back to normal. It's very hard to get away. You'll typically need to use some aspect of the level that it pass to do that.
Yeah, to be able to lose it. And even then, like some of the once you get into that area where it can actually hear you, because it has a big radius, the fact
that one was annoying.
Across rooms, it was so, it makes you feel like, okay, I can't do anything, I can't move, because this thing is going to chase me down. So you actually have to find where you want to go way in advance, so that you don't get trapped by it.
That purple one was rough.
The purple one. But at least at that point, you have a lot of your powers already.
Yeah.
But talking about the white one at the beginning, and you see how it's able to chase you around. How did you find traversing and finding your way around the E.M.M.I areas? Because technically there's a few doors in every single area of the E.M.M.Is, and then that can expand into even different rooms. How did you find being able to find your way around the actual critical path while being chased by this robotic maniac?
I thought it worked really well. Actually, I thought it does feel very tense, drive up a lot. I thought that was all very well done. In spite of that, it doesn't feel like they're all designed in such a way it doesn't feel too hard to figure out where to go most of the time. They tend to be more about these areas like getting past the E.M.M.I more than figuring out like some maze or where to go. And I do like that it's also devoid of normal enemies.
Yes.
Like as if the E.M.M.I kills anything that wanders into this area. And enemies do come in once taken out the E.M.M.I.
Yeah. I really appreciate that, and how that area got clear. When you enter, there is that. I love the environment setup that they have for them. Because if you enter this ominous music area, and even the background is a little bit more hazy, there's like mist in some of the platforms, like this is a cold laboratory where robots are supposed to exist. But once you clear them, the area comes back to normal, and enemies start appearing again. And it just really helps tell a little bit more on the story of what makes an enemy so powerful.
Yeah, and in terms of making you feel powerful, it always feels good to after going through all these zones in which you feel like so powerless, where all you can do is run. Eventually, when you do get the Omega Beam and the ability to like break one of these enemies and like actually fight back, it's always like a great feeling, and it's kind of just like a microcosm of Metroid. Each of these areas where you start off feeling very weak and helpless, and eventually you you gain the means you need to fight back and turn the tables.
Yeah. Every single time that I defeated an enemy, it was greeted by a sheer celebration scream. Because it just feels so good to destroy it. What I appreciated too is that you really need to find a good area, a big long corridor for you to actually go and defeat it.
Yeah. It's not like once you get the beam, you can shoot it and it's done. These beams take a long time to charge, and you also melt its face off to even get a shot at the core.
Yeah.
So you have to properly position yourself and figure out where you're going to stand, where you'll have time to do everything you need to take it out.
Yeah. Not only once you get the Omega Beam and everything, one thing that I appreciated about the enemies is also their progression through the game. Because you feel like the first one is already powerful enough, and then you get introduced to the yellow one, we have the ability to run as fast as possible.
First it's the green one, which can now go through the narrow space.
Oh, sorry. Yes. No, I am skipping ahead. I just remember the yellow one being the most terrifying one.
Yeah.
That one I can speed boost your way through, and you're like, okay, well, I'm screwed. I feel like I cannot even mess up on one of my jumps. I'm gonna die. But yes, you're right. It goes through, and the green one that can go through narrow gaps, so you can no longer hide through a narrow wall. Now you need to once you and is that the first? Is the white one the first one that you actually have to melt their face off?
Yes.
In order to shoot it. Okay. Because that one was tricky because they taught us that you can now have the ability to shoot multiple beams, like mini shots.
Yeah. And they make the door you have to go through like an E.M.M.I face, I think, in order to try and hint that that's what you have to do.
But my dumb brain didn't catch that. So when I first taught it, it's like I'm shooting the cannon at its face and it's not dying. I'm like, oh crap, what am I gonna do? And then I start shooting it and I see the little burning,
heat up.
Heating up. Visual is like, oh, that's why you need the long corridor. You need to really rip his head off first, and then shoot the guy. And that was awesome. And then the other ones become even more scary. Once I thought, there's like, oh, how can you get more scary than running around? Being able to speed. And he's like, well, I'm gonna freeze you in place as soon as I see you.
If I see you, you get frozen.
Are you kidding me? Here we go again. And I like that each of the after the white one, or including the white one, I think. After you defeat them, you get a power up from them, and the power up is related to this new ability that they had. Yeah. Which is really cool. I really enjoyed the E.M.M.I regions. I think it's a really nice addition to this whole Metroid traversal. Story-wise, it's like I'm telling you, the Federation is completely useless. Why? They don't do anything right. They send robots and they get taken over, and now I have to fight them. Come on. Now, do you have anything? I have one more thing to say about the E.M.M.I, but it has to do with the last one.
Yeah, I was going to
talk about
the last one too.
All right, go ahead.
Basically, you get to the last E.M.M.I, and they just explode the whole stage. They grab you and there's nothing do about it. But then Samus automatically counters them, and it's one of the story moments just really hits because they built this idea in your mind of like how these encounters go, and then the final one subverts it. It's like Samus is too strong now. She's awakened powers, and she just immediately like defeats the E.M.M.I without even having the Omega power.
Yeah. Well, what was really cool about it too is you had this. You know how difficult it was throughout the game to be able to counter these enemies. Like their parry window timing is incredibly short. Like you have to try to time it even beforehand. I found as soon as I see the flash, I don't have enough time to actually press the button. By that time, I'm dead. Especially when they try to needle you on with their needle eye, which is freaking creepy, by the way. But you know how difficult it is to parry. And in this game, I believe I'm not. I could be making this up. So I'm trying to look up for the video when I did it. But they do give you like the parry window, but they automatically do it for you.
Yeah.
And it's just like, wait, what? It's almost like something else is taking over and giving control, which kind of fits with the whole narrative that they're trying to build for Samus.
DNA is like acting up and becoming a part of her. She's just acting on instinct.
Which I love, by the way. I love that little part towards it that all of a sudden Samus just grabs that final needle, absorbs the power, and throws it away. It's like, oh my gosh, girl, what are you not capable of doing?
And then you fight like the Chozo statue after that, and you fought some of them already, and they have a certain specific ending animation that happens when you beat them, where you like shoot inside their mouth, but when you fight this one, it's just like absorbs it instead.
It's incredible. It's like that happens a few times once you fight the enemy again. But the one that happens like right after the enemy, where it's like the first time. Yes. No. It's such a great, and even though you have encountered those kind of enemies before, it's really fantastic as you mentioned, like the progression. I really appreciate that in terms of level, not narrative progression, especially once you unlock the X parasites and you let them free. How they are basically taking over all the enemies in the planet. Every time that you defeat one, they no longer drop energy or missiles. They just drop and one of those X parasites and you try to absorb it to gain some of the health back. And
I was gonna mention because I think that's such a good job communicating the threat of the X through like gameplay because it gives you some time to go through the planet as it is normally, and then once the X are released, it's like immediate everything taken over. There's not a single living thing that isn't infected. And I think that's such a way of communicating like why these things are a threat. Yeah. And that I thought was a cool progression of the world as a whole that happens.
Well, it's especially because they were only on this one area, and they also give you that cutscene of you opening up the gates and all those X parasites just roaming free to the world again.
Yeah.
And it's like, Samus, what did you do? Come on.
Well, apparently it was Raven released them.
Right.
Yeah.
But
we just didn't have it happen.
Now we talked about the progression of the enemy. What about the progression of the normal enemies that you encounter towards the world? Do you think that was good how they were able to perform different abilities, or how much stronger they were as you progressed through the game?
Yeah, I thought they wrapped up pretty well. None of them were like too annoying. I know certain games will introduce some enemy types down the road that are meant to be harder that end up being very irritating. So anything in this game, any enemies that were irritating were eventually became very easy once you get like the screw attack or something. So it ends up evening out in the long run.
Yeah. I like I'm gonna make an example of one of the enemies that I like. There is those little flying things that are very annoying because all of them they just kind of tackle you as you even when you they're very annoying, especially when you unlock the ability to stick to magnetic walls.
Yeah.
Because obviously they just knock you down and say, come on, let me shoot you and get away from me. But they start up very easy at the beginning, and you can shoot them even like 3 times and they die, or you can parry them and they die pretty quickly. The next section of this next evolution of that enemy is they're just a bit stronger. You cannot just simply shoot them three times and they die, you have to shoot them. There are more bullet sponges, so you're more encouraged to parry them at that point. And I forget the iterations in between, but there comes an iteration when you get to like the ice region.
Yes.
Where you shoot them and they and you parry them and do whatever you want, but they don't simply die. They literally shine an area and they start like projecting an area where they're about to do something to that area. And as soon as they blow up, they basically spread a mist of freezing wind that if you are within that area, it would damage you like crazy.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really cool because you see this freaking enemy that you were like, okay, I already know what to do against you. I know what your abilities are. And all of a sudden, they have this auto self-destruct mechanic that you have to hide. Again, you have to cut off the what's called the... so they don't see you. They don't have direct line of sight towards you. So they hide behind a wall so that ice explosion doesn't hit you. And I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I also like that they have stronger versions of most enemies because that's something else for the X to do once the released is turn enemies into like the more powerful versions of themselves.
Yeah.
And another good way to communicate the threat. It all works very well.
So we talked about progression of simple enemies, progression of E.M.M.I, progression of Samus, how much more powerful she becomes. I want to touch on the power-ups, but before we do that, let's touch about the bosses. Okay, so the first real boss battle you encounter is that lizard thing. I don't even know if they have any resemblance of anything related to the Metroid or X-Parasite. They just seem like one of the big creatures that live in this planet.
Yeah, so the you get screenshots for 100% or these little vignettes sort of tell you things about some of the bosses and what they were used for. So like this first guy, it seems to just be like some beast that the Chozo use for hunting or something. There's one of a Chozo riding it.
Okay.
But now that all the Chozo are dead because of the X, I guess just roaming free, and that's why you run into it like you do.
Okay, so we get to see that same boss being basically cut to pieces in a different room.
Yeah.
So that's not the exact same one that we beat, right? So that may be another one.
That might be a different one. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. But in any case, you get to fight this boss battle at the beginning. With the current power level that you were on, did you find this boss to be difficult, man?
It killed me once. So. Once I got a feel for its attacks, moves, I was able to do a bit better. The one thing that really screwed me up the first time was when you slide under it and it uses it attacks you during the cutscene. I didn't realize I was supposed to be countering there.
Yeah. It's very subtle because again, this is. I think this is one of the best ways for it to teach you that you even during cutscenes you still have the ability to control Samus. Because this particular one, I also find it kind of difficult because it's like, why is it hitting me when I'm diving or sliding beneath it?
Like you think you've done the thing to avoid it, but then it just hits you with another one.
Yeah. Especially because it changes the camera angle to make it look more of a cutscene. So you're like, okay, so this is a cool action scene. No, you actually it flashes the parry, which means like you actually have to do it if you don't want to get hit.
Yes.
And I appreciate that for this particular battle, because then later on, when you get to fight other bosses, which are absolutely required for you to parry in certain occasions. I was already prepared. I'm like, okay, I'm ready. I know that something else is gonna happen. I need to be ready to parry these people.
Yeah.
So
I think it's interesting that the first three bosses are pretty spaced out, and there's like a good amount of time between them. But then third one, boss battles start happening a lot more frequently, but a lot of them are also a bit like simpler. They don't have as many phases or mechanics to them. And you'll fight these bosses multiple times with different iterations, like kind of different quirks to the fight.
it feels like the escalation is way bigger in the latter enemies. Like the faces are almost completely different. As opposed, especially with the last two boss battles, including the final boss. But for this one, is just when the different faces for the first two enemies and this lizard person Kraid. Is that what his name is, by the way?
Yep. Yeah.
Kraid. They are basically just evolutions of what they did before, so you kind of already know what you need to avoid them. Some of the other boss battles, the faces were like, "Whoa, okay, this is so completely new. What am I supposed to do here?" But they were like we mentioned during our spoiler-free section. They were so enjoyable. I really felt like the game was teaching you that you have to really think on your feet and use your skill and your brains to be able to avoid these attacks. There was never an attack that I felt like, oh no, this is cheap. How am I gonna be able to avoid this? It's always okay. Well, this is a very difficult to attack. I am avoiding it the wrong way. There must be something, especially during that last boss battle. And I'm gonna talk about one particular attack that he did. The attack that he was it? Go ahead, man.
I was just gonna say it does always feel good once you have got a good sense of the patterns and you get into like a flow state where you're just sort of avoiding everything that they throw at you. It feels really good to like have to fight the boss multiple to get really good at it, and then you feel like this would probably feel in that fight where you're just ducking and weaving through everything. Giving hits, and it feels so good.
Except Samus in real life doesn't get second chance. She doesn't get to game over and play again. So she has it more tough than the overall player. But yeah, talking about one particular attack, there was a during the first phase of the final boss battle. One attack that you have to really dodge in order to trigger the sequence for the second phase is one that he basically Ravenbeak charges up his attack and does that wave that basically covers the entire screen except the lower portion. Like you know that in order to avoid that attack, you need to go into morph form. And once you go into morph ball, then it triggers a little bit of a what's it called? Cutscene where you actually have to go and parry the attacks and it triggers shows you how you go to the second phase. Or not even the second phase, but the more powerful version of the first phase. Because technically it's not the second phase. But that attack felt so difficult for me to dodge. I was like, this thing covers the entirety of the screen. And I was by that point I was very high on being able to jump forever and fly. So that's my default tactic for me to be able to avoid any attack that comes in, because I have more control on the air than I have on the ground to be able to do and even on the air I'm able to do the shift ability, which is the ability to basically teleport from one area to the other. And so I was like, okay, this is how I avoided all the attacks for the big X parasite, at least the majority of them. So how the heck am I supposed to avoid this? And I really appreciate it because the game is like, you have other abilities. Use your brain. What is it that you can actually do to avoid a massive attack? And then I saw the lower portion of the screen being on cover, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm a big dumb. Stop what's it called? Stop using just the one pony and actually use the morph ball.
And it's good that it teaches because the second phase is like charges sideways, and the morph ball is the easiest way to avoid that as well.
Yes, exactly. And this is why even though I got frustrated at the time of playing it, it's like okay, the boss battle is doing this for a reason, and I need to listen. And I really appreciate that. And one aspect of the game that we also touched on is whenever you die on the boss battles, the game tells you and reminds you every single move, no move for any boss is unavoidable. Just try to think about, look at the patterns, look at what, like really take a look at it to be able to avoid it. And I appreciate that because the game is telling you, we're not trying to be cheap. This is just challenging, but it's doable.
It's also very generous points for the bosses as well as the E.M.M.I zones because I guess they know that's where people are going to be dying.
Yeah.
But yeah, I appreciate that final boss was fantastic. So good.
It still sticks in my mind, especially after getting that final power. Okay, so I didn't understand this part. Is this a suit that you get by absorbing Ravenbeak, or was it a suit that you get because now you have your full Metroid powers? So it's technically Metroid suit.
Do you want to do this in the other video, or do you want to do it now?
We got just a sneak peek. Just tell me now because I'm gonna.
So that's the Metroid. So that is from like Samus fully unlocking her powers, and you know is organic. So it what awakens in Samus can like affect her suit as well. So that's why the suit takes on kind of like a Metroid form.
Okay. But once you unlock that suit is just mayhem. There's nothing that you cannot do. And I really thought that we were gonna get a final boss face when Ravenbeak gets basically consumed by the X-Parasite and becomes this massive beast. But Samus at that point is just so powerful that all you have to do is hold the attack. You're good to go.
Yeah.
There's nothing that Samus cannot do. It's so powerful.
It's very reminiscent of when you get the Hyper Beam at the end of Super Metroid, and you can kind of just annihilate Mother Brain.
Just do anything. And it's also a little bit reminiscent of the E.M.M.I's in a way, because you have to shoot their face the same way that you're shooting the E.M.M.I throughout. And I thought that was a really nice touch.
Yeah. It was very good. It was very good.
Yeah. Now, to finish off the roundup, I wanted to talk about when you unlock the different powers and what you thought about them. My biggest surprise is it was two powers. When you unlock the morph ball and when you unlock the gravity suit.
Okay.
To me, the gravity suit was the biggest one because I really thought that especially with the Varia suit, when you enter an area that has what's it called, lava, or the temperatures are so high, you're really discouraged to be in that area for a very long time. Because obviously you're gonna die.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. Now for the gravity suit, I thought it would be the same situation, but for water. So water is a bit different because water you don't die if you are on it. You just move very slow.
Movement is just limited, yeah.
And I think your jump is also very slow.
Yeah, you can't use like jump to actually jump infinitely. Well, you can jump infinitely, but you won't go any higher.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what surprised me about that is there is a very big chunk of the game that you actually have to go through water without your gravity suit.
Yeah. And it makes you really appreciate it.
Absolutely, 110%. I'm not disagreeing with that. What was surprising to me is that I thought that they would discourage those areas into the gravity suit, and that's why I kind of tried to avoid them, just because of my experience with the Varia suit. I'm not going into heat, very high temperature areas. But then having to go and even after unlocking the double jump, or even the infinite jump, you still need to go through the water areas to be able to get part of the critical path. That's why they show you those balls in the back to kind of show you, if you jump through from this edge to the other edge, you're gonna be able to traverse to the next area.
Yeah, and Adam unquote does kind of hint towards it, saying like the space jump and the what else is it? He says like two abilities will really help you progress through the water. I think the grapple beam might have been the other one.
Yes.
Like These abilities will help you progress through the water until you find your gravity, something along those lines.
Oh, yes, no, you're right. It's the grapple beam and that. You are completely correct. He said it very early in the game, so I completely forgot about it. And that's why it was surprising to me that whole sequence with not having the gravity suit and just finding all these water areas and having to use my double jump to traverse these water areas was really interesting. I don't think the other game. I remember, and also because of my experience with Super Metroid. Remember when I played Super Metroid? I actually blew up the bridge
Yeah.
and was able to go to the water area.
And you got soft.
And I got soft locked. I couldn't move because it was even like quicksand or the equivalent on water. And because I didn't have the gravity suit, I just couldn't move. I couldn't do anything.
So were you like me when you saw that tunnel in one of the last areas, and you're going through it, and you're just like, I know what I'm gonna have to do.
Oh, 110%, Matt. 110%. I'm like, oh, here we go. I mean, it wasn't necessarily part of the critical path, and by that point, you can kind of shut it off.
There's also a place where it basically forces you to use a power bomb similar tube. So you definitely know to do it.
Yeah. But as soon as I saw it, I was like, here we go. Nice. Yeah. I see what you're doing. Thank you. But yeah, I just wanted to point that out in terms of the power-ups. The way that you got them, I think it was fair, but to me it was surprising for those two in particular, because I saw a lot of areas where I needed the morph ball, and I thought that would be part of the critical path. Obviously they weren't, but it's just like, when in the world am I gonna get this thing? Like I need it right now.
I was surprised that you got the jump, and then there was still like a good number of items. I feel like that's usually very close to the end of the game, the ability to jump infinitely. Yeah, they kind of used the water to nerf that a bit, which I thought was clever. I like some of the changes they made to some of the abilities, like the spider ball, which lets you morph up certain sections of wall. You get the climbing, which I think is better because it perform other actions, like shooting while you're attached to the wall. So you can. I think they let you do more there. I wasn't sure how I felt about it, but I guess I did in the end. I like that super missiles just kind of replaced your normal missiles. Just like an overall power up for them.
Yeah. I like that I didn't have to change anything. Like, all
power-ups
were either
it was a good way of streamlining the controls, so that you didn't have to have a way to do missiles and a different way to do super missiles.
Exactly. And even they were either power-ups to the existing powers that I had, which is fine, because why would I want to go back to the previous version? Or they were a different button button combination that you needed to perform the other one.
Yeah, they found a way to let you use all your powers without having to do any kind of like menuing or switching like in Super Metroid, where you have to press select to get the type of ammo that you want.
Yeah, and let me tell you, chef's kiss. Kudos for doing that. Not interrupting any of the gameplay. For me to go into a pause menu to select another power up, million percent better. And we chatted a little bit about it when we talked about our Psychonauts 2 postmortem. But let me tell you, it's just so much better when all your abilities are at the palm of your hands, and you just have to perform different sequences.
Yeah. I thought they did a very. It was very clever how they integrated all the powers into Samus and really made it feel like you had everything. Without having to do any extraneous like menuing.
Yeah. The one mechanic that I really find tricky to master was the multiple jumps. I don't feel like if you do multiple tap, you really need to shift the movement stick in a certain direction for you to be able to multi jump. Because there were a few times where or is the timing of the jump button. Because there were a few times that I double tapped the A button and Samus wouldn't double jump. But I remember running into a similar issue when I was doing that for Super Metroid. And then I remember.
I kind of got used to it from previous games. Basically, the way it works is first you have to do a spin jump, which means you have to be moving when you jump from a standstill. It won't work. But then the other thing is you can't jump again until basically you reach the top of your jump and start going down again.
Yeah. And that was tricky for me to get again, just because I'm so used to the other games where I'm also playing Hollow Knight. I'm also playing Hollow Knight at the same time. So to me, it's like that doesn't matter. And this one has like very particular rule sets as to when you're able to do the double jump. And I remember for Super Metroid that I had the same problem, and I remember what the mechanic was. But I don't know if this was ever explained in the game for somebody, a newcomer coming in and trying to figure it out.
Right. I think it was when you got the power up, but I played enough Metroid games. I just know what to expect at this point. So I didn't even. I had no issue. Used to the space jump.
Fair enough. That would be my only complaint in terms of the movement. But once you get used to it again, it's totally fine. And everything feels fluid, especially when you have to do it against Raven, when you have to go from jumping all over the place because he's literally tracking you with all those that machine gun. He's gonna give you the wing tackle attack, and you have to go into morph ball. So you have to go all the way from jumping to morph ball to come back up so you can start shooting it. It's just so good. That final battle, chef kiss.
Yeah. Overall, very well designed game.
Yeah. Overall, I think again, I mentioned this already to you, but it's one of my contenders for Game of the Year already. It's just fantastic. One of the most fun times that I had with gameplay. When there were a lot of talks in the mainstream media, I would say about this worth it, about the price because it's so short and it's a 2D game, and we need to get over ourselves. This game had all every single moment that I tried, aside from discovering the stupid blockable wall, which we already touched on. Every other moment with Metroid was so satisfying and fun to play. And I will have. That's why I wanted to 100%. I don't get platinum trophy from this. This is very unfortunate because of that. But just 100% for the fact that I really enjoyed the movement and all the mechanics is.
Yeah, it's fun. I want to experience all the game has to offer.
Exactly. All right. Well, thanks everybody who joined us for a postmortem on the Metroid Dread level progression. I appreciate every single one of you. Again, you can catch us on any podcast service by searching for the term postmortem gaming by It's All Fun Games. And if you wanted to catch along some of the footage that we capture as we play through the game, remember you can do so by watching on YouTube. It's All Fun and Games. Search for postmortem. There should be a playlist there for you with all the available postmortems. Other than that, remember, this is not the only type of show that we do. We also have our Chat and Games, our weekly gaming show, where we talk a more casual conversation about what's happening in the industry and also what we've been playing during the week, which we would like to hear from you as well. And also our off script, which is a nice gamified way of retelling the story of a game where one of the person doesn't know about the game, while the other knows about it, creates a sequence of screenshots, and the person that doesn't know about the game needs to be able to basically decipher the story from cultural osmosis and the screenshot itself. Other than that, I think that's everything that we got for you this week. Hope everybody enjoyed the postmortem. Matt, any final thoughts?
Bye.
This has been postmortem. Metroid Dread. By It's All Fun and Games. Signing off.